The schools of Trinidad and Tobago have been closed for face-to-face schooling since March of 2020 in an effort to keep our children and their teachers safe from the COVID-19 pandemic. United Way Trinidad and Tobago has been working with 15 schools through their 2020 National Time of Caring project. The initiative is geared toward increasing preparedness for the reopening of schools in the new normal.
So United Way Trinidad and Tobago is an NGO that has its focus areas of youth, family life and education. And what we do is we work with other NGOs to deliver services as well as the corporate sector to have the resources to deliver those services.
The science supports the reopening of primary schools with the proper safety measures in place. It states that washing of hands often with soap, wearing masks, outside better than inside, and maintaining physical distancing while waiting for a vaccine.
Our primary school children need to be in school in person for a number of reasons. First of all, the purpose of school is socialization of the child. And we get our students at age 5, the critical years where we need to mold them and to shape them.
Our school serves a community of underprivileged students, and access is a major problem.
A lot of the parents are actually doing the work for the children, which is not in the long run helping the children.
On top of which, some of our children are being harmed at home. Some of them have verbal abuse, physical abuse, hunger.
Any parent, any adult knows that kids are at a disadvantage by being out of school. And anything and everything that we can do to get little kids back into school, especially 8 years old and under, because those kids are transitioning from, learning to read to reading to learn. They are a really important constituency who can't talk for themselves. So United Way wants to advocate on their behalf.
Tackling the socio-economic issues of virtual schooling on the shoulders of a global pandemic is a complex problem. And while experiences with online learning may vary, access and a lack of attention is a recurring concern.
My son have a standard ones. He in standard 1, and he was doing good in school, and as the online, the teacher actually said he way behind, he fall back, and because he can't sit down still in front of that device, he not focusing well on the online thing.
It is becoming a frustrating exercise for them. And if you know 5 years, they cannot sit for long, their attention span very, very short. So that sitting in front of a screen and trying to focus is against all the research that speaks of how 5 years behave. They need to be in a school environment where they can move around, they can go for research, they could play.
We experienced some initial successes with the virtual environment, but on the whole, we are seeing that our students are not coping very well with the virtual learning. We are seeing what can be described as learning loss. We have seen a decline in the quality of the work that the students are producing, and even a decline in the enthusiasm towards learning.
I only have 7 classes virtual. Everybody else is asynchronous. So, those teachers have mixed reviews as well because they're tired. Some of them, the constant online, that whole of the glasses, now people need glasses because of this constant screen time. It's exhausting mentally, it's exhausting emotionally. You don't have that separation between home and school anymore where you can actually shut off.
Formulating solutions in the face of an unprecedented event like COVID-19 can be daunting, but most of the best answers to the biggest problems are simple. And these solutions are not only supported by the findings and analysis of good science, but a determination to not simply do good, but to do right.
I think based on my involvement in designing the spaces, I think what's good, that there are parties like United Way that are actually making an attempt for the spaces to become safe and appropriate for education. My sense is that it's probably going to be an ongoing process. I think that we're probably going to discover things, and normally the best way to discover things are through use, because then they're nuanced to particular situations.
The team, they've come up with plenty good material, and It's nothing like we just stick in with one idea. It's always ideas coming to the table at random, and we have to decide on how we're going forward. So I think it has been a very positive one.
So for them to come back out of school, I think there must be a level of monitoring that will allow for their safe return. I believe, well, I know for this school, I can speak for Material Government Primary School, and the principal is excellent in terms of if the children are coming back out, she will ensure that the school is properly well equipped. When we tell them about wearing masks and sanitizing and stuff, we'll have the positive reinforcement from their classmates to encourage them to do the proper thing. Like I have a 2-year-old also, right? So if we go out, my 2-year-old, when we get back to the vehicle, she'll be like, Mommy, she doesn't say hand sanitizer, she will say sanitizer. So she will remind me that I need to give her hand sanitizer to clean her hands. So I believe that they would be able to cope well with coming back out of school and following the health protocols.
Okay, I wanted to really extend my sincere gratitude to United Way, because they have been critical in helping us to manage this new normal.
Well, when I was approached by United Way, my interest and attraction, I think, was linked primarily to having an opportunity as an architect to be directly and actively involved in responding and addressing the situation that we are in.
So we've got more than a dozen schools that we've worked with directly to try to make those spaces, again in conjunction with the Ministry of Education, safer spaces. So very importantly, you've got to make sure that there's adequate facilities for kids to be hygienic upon entry into school. Number 2, we've also supplied those schools with masks for the kids, because you want to make sure, again, that when they're interacting with each other, when they're in the classroom, when they're in the outdoor space, that they can do so in a way that doesn't put them and each other at risk. So that's number 2. And then number 3, what we've done is we've designed and we've made available to these schools literature that is kid-friendly, that reinforces the messages as to how they are to interact with each other. And hopefully what we're going to be doing is we're going to have some very responsible young citizens, hopefully leading the way for their grown-ups as to how they can interact with each other in an educational space, mitigate some of the disadvantages, and be excellent examples of good civic behavior.